Oh, that music gets me excited every morning. We go on air. Well, every Wednesday morning.
That song has brought new meaning to my life. Every time I hear that, it's at first it was nervousness, and now it's the opposite. I love it.
Yeah, it gets you excited. It's funny because listening to this as a kid, when I first heard it, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. That's a cool song. And now we're listening to it as we're doing our radio show, and it's like, wow, crap just got real. This is weird.
Every Wednesday morning.
Every Wednesday morning. So it's a lot of fun. Hey, everybody, welcome to the PrepperCon Radio Hour. As always, I'm Scott Stallings.
And I'm Shane, preparedguy.com.
So we are excited to be here. You can check us out on ktalkradio.com, preppercon.com, and thepreparedguy.com. We've got a special guest today. His name is Matt Hansen with Freedom to Move.
Hey, Scott. Thanks for inviting me.
Hey, glad to have you. We're excited to have him here today. Before we jump into today's topic, which is thrive, right? It's lifestyle. It's the fun of living. It's the prepper mindset, what you can do to have a better quality of life so that you can survive through any type of challenge. It's thriving. It's quality of life.
And I guess it's thriving in everyday life and not just in an emergency or a disaster, although that's very important. And what we're going to talk about today is very important, especially in an emergency. But it's quality of life, thriving in every single day.
Absolutely. So we'll be talking about that today. We'll also be talking about something that's near and dear to my heart right now. If you tuned in last week, we talked a little bit about OUR, or Operation Underground Railroad. These guys are devoting all their time, talents, and resources to rescuing children from the sex trafficking trade. It's reportedly a $150 billion industry. It's disgusting.
It's mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling, and it needs to stop. We are actually helping, K-Talk's helping with a fundraiser that's going to be, we've got a few things coming up. The main fundraiser is going to be December 4th at Bountiful High School. It's a free event. Let me point that out again. It's a free event. But it's not a kid-friendly event because we're going to be talking about sensitive things. We've got Tim Ballard, the founder of OUR. We've got the Attorney General, Sean Reyes, who's going to be our MC for the event. And then we have the Children's One Voice Choir, which is a phenomenal choir. That'll be the second half of the entertainment that night. And I highly recommend you come. Please donate. Please get involved. If you want to get involved early, check out their Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Our Bountiful Rescue. And that's just OUR spelled out normally. Bountiful Rescue.
Of course, you can also check out PrepperCon on Facebook and PreparedGuy on Facebook. We're, of course, sharing posts. And one thing that I've kind of tried to encourage is the OUR T-shirt. They're selling T-shirts at the event. You can get online. You can order them from OUR, from the rescue themselves.
Absolutely.
And wear it, take a picture, put it on Facebook, post it, share it, create awareness.
Absolutely. And if you want to get in early and get involved, we've actually got two fun things going on. Tomorrow at the Sportsplex in Kaysville, I know it's a little north for some of you Salt Lakers and further south, but I really challenge you to get out there. They're actually trying to break a fitness record of more than 300 people doing the fitness challenge. And the nice thing is even if you're overweight and out of shape like I am, it's going to be fun for you. They try to make this an exciting and fun Thanksgiving workout. It's going to be at 9 in the morning. It's $10 per person. All the money is going to go to help rescue these kids.
Awesome.
And anyone who actually signs up and joins Sportsplex as a member, your sign-up fees this month up until December 4th are 100% donated to OUR.
Awesome.
So that's huge. And then the last bit is they're doing an online auction right now.
Oh, are they?
If you want to get your early bird shopping done, this is better than Black Friday because all the deals I've seen on here are phenomenal. And it's easy to get to. It's if you go to the Bountiful Rescue page on Facebook, it's right there on their page. But it's 32auctions.com/Bountiful Rescue. If you have a hard time finding it, just go back to the Facebook page. It's an easy click through. But there's jewelry deals like from local jewelers. There are gift baskets. I mean, there are things you can buy anywhere from $20 to $100.
Help you get ready for Christmas, right?
Absolutely.
So I guess also they have a silent auction the night of the fundraiser, correct?
Yes, that's the silent auction is going on now through then.
Okay.
And actually, correction, the workout tomorrow is at 8 in the morning. So it's a little earlier than I thought. I'll be there.
Okay.
Come join me. Have fun. It's going to be a great great opportunity for everybody to do something good for yourself, but also do something good for everyone else.
In addition to just regular donations, they're also, I guess, accepting donations. Like, for example, me as a prepared guy, I've donated a couple of consultation sessions, which you can bid on and have in-home consultation and evaluation of your preparedness needs. That's just one thing that I've stepped up to try and donate. And they're also looking for others to donate as well. Corporations, businesses, if you have a product you'd like to give away to help support the cause,
Absolutely.
contact OUR Bountiful and let them know you would like to donate that and support the cause.
So as a quick recap, tomorrow's workout, Kaysville Sportsplex, 8 a.m. Online silent auction is going on now through December 4th, and then the main event, December 4th, that's going to be at the Bountiful High School. It starts at about 6:30 p.m., so make sure you're there, have fun, come get involved. In fact, Freedom Move is actually doing a gift basket in the silent auction. Is that right, Matt?
We are. We've given a gift basket, and we're also, we'll talk about it a little bit later in the show, but we're donating a portion of our proceeds as well. But if you guys haven't seen OUR, this is amazing. I mean, these guys are literally going into the jaws of hell and rescuing these kids out of sex slavery. I mean, they physically go and are saving them and rescuing them out of, from the slime.
Yeah. And the nice thing is they've got a 100% conviction rate. Like, of everyone that they've busted, all these bad guys are going to jail. They videotaped the entire bust. So these guys cannot get out of it. That's been the problem in the past, is they've made kids have to go in and talk about their situations, talk about what happened to them in the courts, and that's hard for the kid to relive. That's traumatizing, again. But now they videotape the bust, they videotape the buy, so they get the bad guys on tape, and they just nail them. They put them down.
They don't have to go back in and relive that.
Yeah, and the kids are protected. So
I admire them for the restraint more than anything else.
Oh, yeah,
If any one of us were in there, I was like,
That's a
man.
great point.
yeah, I could not do that.
And I guess so what they also do is help these kids rehabilitate from their
Yeah,
experience.
they've actually partnered with the Elizabeth Smart Foundation.
Oh, fantastic.
And so they get the psychological, the emotional, the mental well-being and health restored after they're done with the event, or done with the rescue. So it's a whole solution for these kids. Something I feel really strongly about. If you can participate, if you have a desire, please get involved. If you just want to donate, go to bountifulrescue.org. If you have questions for us, you can send us an email or ping us on Facebook, and we'd be more than happy to get more information out to you. But let's change gears a little bit, not as sad a topic, but we've got our special guest here, Matt Hansen. Tell us about yourself and tell us about Freedom to Move.
Fantastic. Thanks, Scott. So I'm a little bit of background. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. And through the years in practicing physical therapy, I'm also a professional writer, and I've had a number of patients just ask me if I could recommend a home exercise program that wasn't typical of everything that we see. We see the P90Xs and all these high-impact, what we refer to as high-impact videos. And the Freedom to Move series really breaks the mold. Those types of the high-impact videos are fantastic for a certain segment, but how many people really can do them, or how many people burn out on them after just a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I actually tried one of those high-impact exercise programs a couple times. I never made it through the full 90 days. I always got injured, and I don't know why that would kept happening to me. But so how does this apply to just everybody? I mean, you said it's adaptable for anyone.
It really is. So what we've done is we've taken the exercise and we made them adaptable to anyone, whether somebody is a competitive athlete or whether they're not able to move at all on their own. We actually show people how they can perform the exercises with the assistance of a partner. And so it's really based on concepts of exercise and sports science. So we bring the science into it as well to show people and teach them how to adapt an exercise. So if you can't perform it in one position or you can't perform a certain exercise, that's all right. It's still possible to work out that part of your body.
That's awesome. So let's talk about how that applies to prepping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're here for, right? You guys are all listening to us because it's PrepperCon Radio, not, hey, we're going to talk about fitness today.
Sports medicine.
Reality is we are going to talk about fitness because I think that's one of the most forgotten aspects of your daily preparedness.
Wonderful.
So when it comes to fitness, I mean, anyone can do the program, but how does this help us be better preppers in general? I mean, how does this help us with the daily disasters? Because, yeah, there may be an incident where we have a major earthquake, but until then it's, changing tires on the side of the road or helping someone else who's been in an accident, which I ended up doing a few nights ago. It's those types of things that we need to be more prepared for than anything else. So how does this help us?
Great question. I really break down emergencies into two types of emergencies. There's the personal emergencies, and there's the more widespread kind of the community disasters. You know,
Okay.
those are the things that we typically think of when we're thinking about community disasters. We're thinking about the earthquakes. We're thinking about a hurricane or a tornado, things like that. And to address the personal emergencies, first of all, it could be something as simple as getting an injury and not being able to work. You know, not bringing in income into the home because you weren't physically fit or you weren't conditioned. You mentioned with some of those high impact exercises and getting injured. Physical therapists treat a lot of people from those types of injuries. And I call it the 0 to 60 syndrome. You know, where you're doing nothing, you may be sitting on the couch, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, you see this infomercial and you're like, that can be me. I can have abs like that. So you make this resolution, you have these goals, you go and you buy the videos, you start doing them, and then on day 2, day 3, you're like, whoa. You know, and you're feeling it. And in many cases you get injured. So we have to, it's a process.
And the reality is, when I had 8% body fat, I still didn't have six-pack abs.
Yeah,
That was a long time ago.
You know, that's a great point too. And that's part of one of the things that we address is because we're addressing the education. Our videos have the workout, but they also have an education component that we call the classroom. So a lot of people don't realize they will, you know, they're rock solid. They got abs of steel, and they're doing so many crunches a day, et cetera, in every way you can think of. But they can't get that six-pack ab, and there's actually a physical reason for that.
That makes me feel a lot better. Thank you.
There's hope.
There's hope. Well, hope that I don't
So-
have to have a six-pack ab.
So with regards to personal emergencies, you know, Scott, I think about whether it's an injury affecting your ability to work, think about somebody who can't defend themselves because, you know, a mugging or something like that. Or even today, in the Wasatch Front, we got a big snowstorm coming through. And if you were to get marooned in a car, you know, are you going to be able to hoof it out if you need to? You know, I have some coworkers who are driving over to Wyoming, into Wyoming to visit family for the holidays. And they said specifically last night on the news, be careful if you're traveling through Wyoming. There's a lot of deserted roads. There's going to be some whiteout conditions. If you had to hoof it, could you? You know, if you had to carry a 50-pound pack, Shane,
Yeah.
you know, how far could you get? I think it's always ironic when I see people coming out of shows or out of stores and these preppers, and they've got all this great gear, and they're huffing and puffing just carrying it out to their car.
I think that's a really good point. You mentioned a 50-pound pack, right? What is the actual weight that somebody should be carrying
That's
on
a
their
good
back?
question.
Well, in actuality, our backs really aren't built to carry much weight at all, and they shouldn't.
But is the backpack the better way to carry that weight?
At times, it really depends on how much you're carrying. I mean, if you are carrying, I'd say more than 20 pounds, and that's usually what they recommend. And that's one of the problems. Even our school children, they
Right.
can carry a
Right.
20-pound pack sometimes, and
Yeah.
they're carrying it too.
Let's get you closer to the mic. I don't know if we all heard that. So the back isn't necessarily the best place to carry all your stuff.
Not necessarily, no. And in fact, not carrying it on your person is the best way. If you have another way to be able to carry it, and there are a number of different options.
So
if
you're,
you can,
you're a proponent of the handcart.
I am a proponent of the hand cart. I'm
I
a
was just
proponent of
gonna
the
say
hand cart, the trailer, the hand cart. You know, whenever you can use leverage.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, when we're using our back for the leverage and we're using that, we're prone to injury.
Which means if you're going to carry a 50-pound pack, you better be in shape. You better have your core strong. You've got to be, and I'm not talking about CrossFit gym fit, right?
Right.
That's not really what we're talking about. Is looking like a bodybuilder, looking like a weightlifter.
It's really conditioning is what we're talking about.
Gotcha.
You know, I refer to some of those muscles, and the muscles that get all the attention are what I refer to as the bathing suit muscles, right?
Okay.
And that's great.
Mhm.
We all want to look good, but I think all of us, at least in this room, in the studio, we're married. We still want to look good for our wives, right? But who else are we really trying to attract after that? It's function.
Mhm.
You know, function is what we're most concerned about. Are we going to be able to go on that hike? Are we going to be able to do continue being the weekend warriors and playing basketball
Yeah, and-
in the mornings?
And what I find about that is, yeah, if you're not in shape and you go on a hike, it's not any fun.
Right.
You're not enjoying yourself, and that's, I think, where Thrive really comes in. If you're in an emergency situation and you're not fit, it's going to be a lot harder on you physically. You're not going to, I don't want to say the word enjoy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You're going to have a much more enjoyable time if you are fit.
And we are heading into the break. Hang on, we'll be right back with Matt Hanson, Doctor of Physical Therapy and founder of Freedom to Move.
Goes fast.
Yeah, it does go fast. So, if you want personal stuff, we talked about a little bit more, and I can talk about larger disasters. So we've addressed the personal and disaster. Say
The Armory Shooting Range, located at 248 West 9210 South in Sandy, is Utah's newest and largest indoor shooting range. The Armory features 18 climate-controlled lanes with state-of-the-art target carriers and air systems. The Armory has a vast selection of rental guns for use on the range, including machine guns. The Armory's facility and firearm training programs are designed with your personal safety and enjoyment as a priority. Many services are offered, including classes, gunsmithing, and a cutting-edge training simulator. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced marksman, the in-depth training, highly qualified instructors, and custom-designed facility will get you to where you want to be as a shooter. Head on in to experience the newest indoor shooting range in the state, just off the freeway at 248 West 9210 South in Sandy. Online at armoryshootingrange.com or call 801-447-1789. The Armory Shooting Range, just off the freeway at...
All right, like a twister, we are back, and I'm way too loud. Hey everybody, welcome back to the PrepperCon Radio Hour. We've got 2 segments left, and we are with a special guest, Dr. Matt Hansen with Freedom to Move. Let's talk a little bit more about big disasters, but before I do that, let's give a shout out. You are listening to K-Talk Radio, that's AM 630, KTKK on Twitter, and if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's K-Talk Radio, and Facebook is simply K-Talk Utah. Feel free to join in the conversation. You can call us at any time at 801-254-5855. We want your participation. This is a great opportunity to talk to Dr. Matt Hansen, not just about Freedom Move, but more importantly about your preparedness goals, how fitness plays a part, overall wellness, and just, we can answer questions on what your plan entails and how to help you with that. So please join in. Again, that's 801-254-5855. We look forward to your calls. So, Matt, let's talk about not major disasters, but bigger disasters.
Right.
How
maybe more specific to Utah.
Yeah, how does this all come into play?
Well, specifically to Utah, we think about the earthquake, right? They've been talking about the big one for a long time. Yeah. But there are a number of other times we see structures, et cetera, fall. There are a number of things that could cause something to fall. When you're talking about big disasters, think about rubble and getting yourself out. You need to be fit to be able to dig yourself out, and if you can't get out, you need to be able to have the physical stamina at least to be able to survive.
And if you're trapped, if you are fit, you're going to, I guess, survive longer, right?
It's true.
For rescue effort.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing. Some people talk about, well, if I'm fat, I'll be able to survive longer, right? Because my body's going to eat off of the fat, and that's actually a misconception a lot of times, because when we're overweight, it stresses our bodies in different ways. And if you haven't got, for example, that potassium and that calcium, you can actually end up having a heart attack. It can cause other complications.
So is it detrimental to be extra thin? I mean, to have very low percentage body fat, try to be the bodybuilder and have the six-pack abs like you're saying? Does that work against you?
It can be as well. If you're 0% body fat, it could in a survival situation. The body is going to turn initially to fat for a certain percentage of its calories, but then it's going to turn to that muscle because the muscle is going to give it a lot more calories ounce for ounce.
Okay, so when I call this little spare tire I have around my waist, when I call that my 72-hour kit, is that appropriate?
I would say if it's not affecting your health elsewise, then you got you have something to use there.
All right, cool.
So, large disasters also, I kind of refer to it as, I tell people, if you're not able to take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of somebody else?
Absolutely.
And there are some people who have physical conditions that there really isn't a whole lot you can do about it. If somebody, for example, is paraplegic, they're not all of a sudden going to be able to get up and declare everybody else out necessarily, but there are a lot of things that they can do for themselves. Part of that is preparation, which I'd love to get into in a second, but I also look at it as everybody can do something more. Everybody can be more prepared and do something, better. If you're dependent on someone else, pray that somebody is going to come and get you, pray that somebody's going to be able to help you. Have a system in place. That's good.
That's a very helpless feeling.
Yeah, but it's good knowing that somebody else can help you, and it is a helpless feeling.
You have to have that plan in place.
Right. If you're able to take care of yourself so you don't become a burden to someone else, that's better. And then if you're able to take care of yourself and help somebody else, that's best.
So better off.
Exactly. And that's really what we're shooting for, is trying to help people to reach their full potential, whatever it may be. Whether it's good, better, or best, reach that full potential in an emergency situation and be prepared for it.
Awesome. Now, when I have particular goals for myself in fitness, as in, okay, I need to just be able to sprint a quarter mile, from this time, or run a mile, and that has a lot to do with emergencies. Say, for example, in
chasing down a pronghorn animal.
well,
If
yeah,
you're
exactly.
hungry, I mean,
If you're
could you,
hungry-
Shane, chase down a pronghorn animal?
No,
It's the fastest
that's,
animal in North America.
No, absolutely not. I
You got some
come to
work to
terms
do.
with that, but
No.
but no, you're absolutely right. If you need to chase your prey, you need to chase your food. You got to be fit.
And I can't even chase one down in my car. Like, that's the reality.
But you could wrestle a grizzly bear.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Wrestle
That's
and
true.
lose.
Yeah, well, I don't know
If
how
it's,
many
if
people
it's a
have...
cub, I've got a chance.
Well, you know,
Scott's
get Dan
got
in here. Dan
huge
is
forearms.
all about that. We had our guest last week. He wants to fight a cougar. I know that's one of his aspirations.
That is crazy. So other than chasing down a pronghorn, when it comes to your fitness for disasters, I mean, what are some of the core things that people need to be focused on?
Okay.
I know health and nutrition we need to talk about in great depth later, but let's talk about the exercise components
Sure.
with the right nutrition to help with that.
One of the most important things is going to be stamina. So your endurance, your cardiovascular endurance is extremely important in an emergency situation, not only if you have to bug out, if you have to walk long distances or perform other work, if you're putting up a shelter, if you're doing other things like that. But your body, as it becomes more conditioned, becomes more efficient. It becomes more efficient at using calories. It becomes more efficient at conserving that energy as well and learning how to pace itself. So becoming fit from that sense is probably the first thing.
Now, one thing that I realize is that people can do more than they think they can. They may not be fit, but they can push their bodies further than they think.
Mm-hmm.
How does your program, I guess, can help to condition people so that they realize, I could do this?
Fantastic question. And I think, again, the program itself is building on what you're able to do now and progressing. So a lot of people don't realize, if you were to say, are you able to do this? Like you said, am I able to run a mile, a 7-minute mile or something? If I were to ask you that right now, you may say, no way. But if we were to start out segmentally, and if we were to start out walking it and then running a quarter mile, running half mile, and then all of a sudden you're there. Mm-hmm. And you're like, wow, what else can I do? So it's building up on that. And now in an emergency situation, it comes at you 100 miles an hour. And you're called upon to do things that you hadn't even imagined beforehand. That's where the adrenaline kicks in. Mm-hmm. Now that's where adrenaline kicks in. And as we get past these mental blocks, the same thing happens when we're exercising and doing a fitness program. Mm-hmm. It just comes more slowly and we're able to realize it, but we're passing those mental blocks.
So we're conditioning our bodies as well as our mind.
Exactly. About what we're able to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important because oftentimes we forget how a strong mind will get us through tough times. The body will go a lot further than our mind thinks it will.
That's true.
You hear that in training, you hear that in sports, you hear that in survival situations. If you can overcome the mind, you've got a better chance. But it's easier to do that when you've been training the body.
And that's why you lasted a couple of weeks with those high-impact programs, Scott. Because, your mind, you realize, man, you're pushing yourself through, and you literally are. You're grunting. Is that adrenaline? Is that daydreaming of the perfect body? Right? And it gets you through those first couple of weeks. But then if the body is not backing it up, you burn out.
Absolutely. Right. Still daydreaming, by the way. That's a perfect physique. Apparently I've got giant forearms.
He's got the forearms down.
I need to... Right now they have a nice coating of insulation that I need to burn off. But, I think it's funny because, so many times we set goals and we try to get in better shape. And it's easy to fall off the wagon, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. But when we start seeing there's the improvements, it's easier to stay on the wagon.
Right.
How quickly do people start seeing results when they're using the proper techniques and the proper form and proper principles?
If you're applying them, that's the key. If you're applying the proper principles, you should start to see results almost immediately. Now, it may not be in the mirror, but you're going to feel the difference. Mm-hmm. You're going to feel more energetic. And that's why I tell people, after you exercise, within 2 hours after you exercise, there's going to be that post-exercise fatigue. Mm-hmm. But within 2 hours, if you're not starting to feel better than you were before you started the exercise, you're probably overdoing it. Okay. So you need to start out kind of slow and then build up from there. People, as far as the bandwagon, we're coming around the beginning of the year again, right? Most everybody signs up for health clubs, gyms, etc. in January because they have all these New Year's resolutions. 80% of those people will drop their membership or they never go by February.
Wow. Okay,
yeah,
so
I need to...
So let's just say I actually do start a fitness regimen, right? And as a prepper, I'm trying to get myself more well-rounded physically, emotionally, mentally, all those things. Say we start that. Well, let me back it up. Say I've got an injury, an existing injury, and I start that. Perfect example is my wife. She's got a bad knee. She had the surgery and replaced the meniscus in her knee. Some of our listeners have had those types of injuries. How can we get better fit when we've got those limitations?
Right. There are ways to adapt the exercises, and that's kind of what our program goes over in the program videos, and there's so many different ways to really, that in and of itself is a whole nother show or shows depending on the specific injury. Because there are specific injuries, and there's ways to adapt them. And that's what the program teaches people, is how you can adapt it. For example, in the case of your wife and the meniscus. So without a meniscus, you don't want to do a lot of weight-bearing or heavy weight-bearing exercise, high-impact exercise, because she hasn't got the same protection. A meniscus is kind of a pad in your knee joint that protects your bone from rubbing against your bone, basically. And without that, it can cause a lot of pain if you're doing high-impact exercises. So running long distances may not be the best activity for your wife any longer.
It's probably not best for her to carry a 50-pound pack
exactly.
a lot of miles.
No, that wouldn't be either. But she can do those same types of exercises to build the muscle in what we refer to as a non-weight bearing or in a weight bearing reduced, a gravity reduced position, which is explained again through our programs on the videos, and take that weight off and still get the benefit of the exercise.
Awesome. So there's adaptations you can use, and these can work across any type of injury. Like I've got some shoulder problems. I've separated both shoulders being stupid playing turkey ball, Thanksgiving football. I mean, that's tomorrow. 5 years ago, I separated a shoulder doing that, and then 3.5 years ago, I separated the other shoulder on a slip and slide. Stupid activities that I put myself into. So I can actually do gravity reduced movements to help those not hurt.
Especially if it's chronic injury. Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, you need to go to your doctor. I mean, you need to make sure that you're not doing more damage, by exercising or working out a part of the body that you shouldn't be, that needs to get addressed and heal first. But yes, I mean, if there's pain or if you're experiencing reduced strength in a particular area and a certain position is just too difficult to do, we shouldn't be straining.
Okay.
We go to the gym all the time. We see these people. We're self-conscious a lot of times at the gym. We see the guy next to us and he's bicep curling, 50 pounds. So we feel we need to, and so we try to. But then instead of curling that, you're leaning to the side, you're grunting, and you're really not working out the muscle you're trying to target to begin with. So
That's a good point.
You shouldn't strain. You should have to maintain good form. And if you're not able to do it in one position, then you can do it in the next position.
And I guess the question is, are you trying to build bulk, or are you just trying to, say, like yourself, build stamina?
That's a good point too, because as far as muscle stamina, so bulk, there's different configurations. When you're trying to build strength, you do want to have lower reps, higher resistance.
Right.
So if you're bench pressing or something, your target is between 8 and 12 reps. Some people even go, if they're going for mass, they're saying 3 reps.
Okay.
And that's it. You're just lifting that bar 3 times, but
As heavy as you possibly can for those 3 times.
and that's not. I don't advocate for that. Really strength and advocate for 8 to 12 times. If somebody is working on stamina of the muscle, of a particular muscle, then we're talking about 30 to 50 reps and lower resistance. So that's not like a tendonitis. Someone who has tendonitis, and you're trying to build up that endurance of a muscle and strengthen the muscle without overstraining it, that would be higher reps, lower resistance.
So drop the weight or drop the gravity resistance is what you're saying.
Yeah, so it all depends really on your goals.
That's really helpful. Yeah, it's funny because we look at what we're doing for ourselves a lot, and with PrepperCon we want to focus on how we can help families be more prepared, and part of that is multi-generational families.
Yeah.
My mother and father-in-law, amazing people, but they've had health challenges. My mother-in-law went through cancer treatment, and there's certain things you've got to do. With what she did, there's certain different types of movements she's got to be careful with, and same thing with like my father-in-law had double knee replacement.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend for people who have multi-generational homes? Because that's getting more and more popular. What should be like the evacuation plan for someone with mobility issues?
Right. Well, I'd say first and foremost, we have to make sure that there is a plan in place. Whether somebody lives, and you're talking about multi-generational homes, or maybe that somebody, an older adult, is living alone, you need to make sure that there's a plan in place to have somebody check on them. I worked in home health for a number of years, and it's really sad, but you would be surprised how many people have a fall at home and just aren't strong enough to get back up, and they die from dehydration from laying on the floor because no one came and checked on them, for a couple of days. And it does happen. I can attest to the fact that it happens. We've all had fun with the commercials. You'll remember from years ago. Exactly. See, I didn't even have to say the tagline. You remembered it. So we all have fun with that. And there's products though. The Med Alert product is great, but think about it too, because some of those products are hardwired. So they're hardwired, meaning they're into your phone line. Now, if the phone line goes down, it's not going to work. So it's important to have and some of them though are actually on cellular technology. So I advocate for those that are on cell technology. So even if your hard line goes down, you're going to have that. But again, the towers can get overwhelmed in an emergency as well. A whistle. So you have to have, I believe in redundancy. When it comes to an emergency situation, I believe in redundancy. Absolutely. Have a plan A, have a plan B. Even moving that person's phone close enough where they can reach it, or it's on a lower table so they can reach it when they're standing, or if they're on the ground, can be a lifesaver.
All right, so multiple redundancy. That's huge for preppers. We all know that. Yeah. Always have a backup to your backup. I think that's a really key thing we need to think about when we're talking about, especially my parents, my mother-in-law, father-in-law as well, you want to be able to take care of them in a disaster. The reality is you might not be able to get to them. Maybe you need to have phone numbers for neighbors and other people that are close to them that they can contact them. If the phones are down, what other methods of communication can you do? I love ham radio. I'm actually getting ready to take my test in the next month. Whew.
Love it.
I'll get my...
That's another whole other show we can talk about.
Yeah, we'll go into that. Shane, sorry. my brain is going right now, but Shane's actually a well, what license do you have? Ham radio.
Kilo Charlie 7 Delta Tango Victor.
There you go. All that fun stuff. But I think that's part of what a lot of people are missing is what do I do when my family's further away? What do I do when there's someone with mobility issues? This is the time to think about it before it happens.
Right.
That's why we brought Matt on, because it helps us think about things we're not already thinking about when it comes to our safety. A lot of times we think immediately in our household what we need to do. Oftentimes we forget what we need to do. If you've got an elderly neighbor, check in on them every day. Build a better relationship with that neighbor. The only way we as preppers and we as the prepared can get better is by including our neighbors, our friends, our families into our safety net, into our plan.
Yeah, make them part of your plan and practice that plan as well.
Practice. The fun thing is we do skills practicing with niece and nephews, and for earthquake simulations and for fire simulations. We'll run through and do drills, but do we do drills for the whole family? Do we do drills with our community? Think about that. Join us back. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. We're going to take a station break. You're listening to AM 630 K-Talk Radio, and we are PrepperCon Radio.
So we got one more segment?
Yeah.
A couple other things maybe on the taking care of family. Okay. We can mention other things like making sure you have a supply of medications.
I recently met with a homeowner who's ready to retire but felt trapped in his job because his retirement funds have gone down substantially over the last few years, and he needed the income from his job to make payments on 2 or older. You can qualify for reverse mortgage. It will help you meet your retirement goals. I have years of experience helping Utah homeowners who will help you find the right solution for your financing needs. With a 10-minute call, I can help you find out how you qualify and how reverse mortgage can help you. Call me today, Alan Blood, 298-5887. That's Alan Blood, Capital Financial, 801-298-5887, and MLS number 3146.
I'm smiling because I can enjoy my life again without worrying about the IRS or how I'm going to support my family. My friends told me about TaxDebtPros.com, a local Utah full-service tax resolution company. The professionals at TaxDebtPros.com did a free case analysis and explained everything to me clearly in a language I didn't understand. They got right to work, and now I'm paying a small portion of what I did before. The best part is I got my life and smile back.
Do you have IRS problems? The local experts at TaxDebtPros.com
Okay, so I pick the music, but I don't choose when it gets played.
So this is one of Shane's favorites, Armageddon. Woo! Yay! No. So we're PrepperCon Radio. We're poking fun at the apocalypse today. We've got a special guest in house, Dr. Matt Hanson with Freedom to Move, and your website again is freedomtomove.org.
Yeah, so it's the number 2, freedom2move.org.
Oh, thank you. And so we've been talking, first part of the hour we talked about kind of fitness, wellness, how we can improve. Second block we were talking about things we can do to be better prepared, especially if we have mobility issues or we've got multi-generational homes. One of the things that you can do, and I want listeners to join in if you've got content that you want to share with us or have questions, feel free to do so. It's 801-254-5855. But one of the things you can do to just be better prepared in general is to have a plan. Have a plan for all these different things you need to worry about. You've got to think about your day-to-day needs. Well, now think about them. How are they going to fall off track in a disaster scenario, in a minor emergency or major catastrophe? So let's talk about that. During the break you talked about medications.
Right.
What do you do in those situations? Or if you're on oxygen, what do you recommend we do with people in those situations, that we care about?
Right. So it's important to have a backup going to medications, for example, to have a supply. Now, pharmacies or doctors, for example, will prescribe up to a certain amount in addition to for people, and that's important to take advantage of it. Yeah, and it's very important to take advantage of it and have it in stock and rotate it much like you would food storage.
Yeah, just like your own cupboard.
Right. Exactly. Think about somebody who's diabetic and requires insulin.
Yeah.
That can become an emergency really quickly, or even an inhaler with asthma. So there, or heart medication. There's all kinds of things. So people, if they're letting their prescriptions run out and not taking advantage of that supply, which law will permit, there's a problem. They're setting themselves up for disaster.
Now, here's a question which you may or may not know anything about. You hear all over the internet about fish antibiotics. Do you know anything about that?
About fish antibiotics, or about fish oil?
Fish antibiotics as a replacement for human antibiotics.
Okay.
That require
pet, fish
right,
and
pets.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of people online that are like,
Right.
yeah, if you just buy this fish version, it's the same as this.
So I have to be very careful because the FDA permits one thing and doesn't, right? But, and again, I'm not a medical doctor. However, the medications are the same. They may be different dosages, and that's where you have to be really careful, because somebody administering a dosage, well, many of the medications are the same, I should say, not all of them.
All right.
But some of the medications are the same. If it's the wrong dosage, it could cause big problems, and technically it is illegal.
Well, yes. Just wanted to get your quick take.
Okay, no. But no, I understand where you're coming from. Emergency is an emergency, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, emergency is an emergency.
I just want to make sure I don't grow gills if I got a headache and I need to take some medication.
Take some fish antibiotics.
There you go.
That's right. So we talked about medications. Food and water, same thing. You need to make sure it's accessible, that you're keeping in a couple different places in the home, so that you can get a hold of it, whether it's a parent or whether it's yourself. It's important to do those types of things. And then preventing disaster is just as important. So going back to the personal disasters again, what can we do to prevent a fall in the home? Putting tread on the bottom of the bathtub, putting grab bars in, making sure that if there's a dead light in the garage that you're replacing it by the stairs. I joke and say that when I get older, I'm going to have the neighbor kid on retainer. I'm going to pay him $5-10. Well, by then, inflation, holy smokes, I don't know what it'll be, but I'm going to put him on retainer and say, if you don't hear from me every 24 hours, come get me. Or if you see anything suspicious, come get me. That gives me an opportunity to, share my life stories with him once a day.
Yeah, that's true. You're thinking
as well as to check on me.
I don't think that far ahead. I'm never getting old. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oxygen, I should say, is probably the final thing I should mention, because concentrators is something that you can plug in, which is great. And it works if you have electricity or if you have a generator. So an oxygen concentrator is something that you don't have to have that tank for, because it just pulls the air, it compresses it, or compressor, it compresses it. So, that's great, but in an emergency situation, again, you need to have oxygen tanks that you're keeping somewhere, especially somewhere for where you're not going to have an explosion, right? And keeping it somewhere that's accessible, that would give you that emergency supply.
And keep them separated, right? It's good to have your preparedness tools in different locations throughout the house, because if you can't get to it, it doesn't do you any good.
Right.
I see people that'll put all of their food storage in one room in their house, their cold storage room. Well, most cold storage rooms are completely surrounded in concrete. That's a nice vault. And if there's an earthquake, how are you getting into your vault?
You may not be able to get in there.
You may not be able to. That's why I'm a huge proponent of put your stuff in different places throughout the house. It's good to have your go bags, in case of an earthquake. Some people call it a bug out bag, some people call it a 72-hour kit. I think 72-hour kits are dumb. They need to be 96-hour kits. FEMA just came out with this. I've been doing this for probably 10, 12 years, a 96-hour kit for 2 people, in case I get really hungry. Or maybe if I've got someone with me. But FEMA just now started saying, oh no, 72 hours isn't enough time. It'll take us at least 96 hours to get to you. That's on a really good day. You need enough to be able to get you through. Harriman a few years ago had those fires, and people were having to evacuate their homes. And then you saw on the news people driving out with campers full of stuff. Well, how nice is it if you can just run to the door, grab what you need, toss it in your car, your truck, your camper, but you've got it by multiple doors, multiple exit strategies
Keep it in the
out of
coat
the house.
closet, keep it in the garage.
Yeah, I keep a bag in my car at all times, and then every time I go over 30 miles, I've got another bag with me.
Jane's got a box of cookies under his bed.
Yeah.
In my bag right now.
Okay.
There you go. But it's important to have different things. I mean, even to the simplest thing. In case of an earthquake, it's good to always have a pair of shoes at your bed. Because the number one injury is cut feet.
Yeah, flashlight and shoes.
Flashlight and shoes. Have those handy. So what else do we need to think about when it comes to family, medical, and health preparedness that maybe maybe it's not as much of a mainstream thought, or maybe it is, we just need a reminder. Like, what are some other things that we can do that we can help our families be better prepared?
Well, we've already mentioned a number of them, but I'd say another reason for a lot of deaths, particularly during the winter, you know, when electricity goes out, something so simple, but a lot of people will die from cold. I mean, they freeze to death just because they haven't got a heat source, they don't have enough blankets, they don't have a generator. And what we see a lot of the times also, almost every single year, you see the carbon monoxide deaths because someone gets one of those hibachis or gets something else and they're burning carbon, you know, they're burning the briquettes to keep them warm inside the house, and they die, right? So think about any of the elements. What do you need to survive, right?
That's a great point.
You need your oxygen, you need your food, you need water. Make sure that you have all those in place and that they are accessible.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. So if people want to learn more, they need to go to your website.
Freedom2move.org.
And so you mentioned earlier in the hour that you guys you're doing a promotion right now. You're also donating a portion of sales to Operation Underground Railroad right now.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
All right. So if you go to the website, and on our shopping cart, there's a coupon code. We actually have two places to enter a code there. There's a nonprofit support code, but don't put anything in there. You don't need to put it in there if you just go to checkout. And so what we do is we have a complete strengthening series right now. So we have lower body, upper body, and core. And then you can either purchase each video individually. They're $17.99 is the regular price, or the entire set for $45.
That's much cheaper than any P90X or anything I've seen.
It actually is. Yeah, so it's a good price.
Or I should say less expensive, sorry.
It's less expensive, and we actually, you know, they're 53-minute videos because we have that educational component in it too. The workout is structured so that you can do either part of it or all of it. You don't have to do the entire thing all at once. They're segmented by exercise, and then we have the classroom part. So it's a good value. But on top of that today, if people go in and where the coupon field is, so the coupon code field, put in PrepperFit. So if you put in PrepperFit through the end of the year, they'll save 15% off either on individual videos or on the entire set, and we will donate an additional 10% to OUR of that purchase. So a total of 25% will be designated either for discount or to OUR.
Wow, thank you very much. That's fantastic. So you're not only buying a video if you want to go to the website and get your set of videos, but you're also helping OUR. They also have a gift basket you guys provided to OUR for part of their silent auction.
Right. That's a full set of the videos, and then we have some other additional kind of fitness stuff in the basket also.
So some weights and other fun stuff.
Water bottle.
Oh, cool. There you go. The water bottle goes right in your emergency bag.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the other thing we talk about is water. I'd say here some people should drink, okay, take your body weight, cut it in half, drink that in ounces. What's your take on that?
Water, well, it's interesting too because you also hear as far as every day you should really drink 8 glasses of water a day, right? And that's not necessarily the case. We may be overdoing it in some cases. But your body gives you some signs as far as what you need, right? Now, when you're rationing, it's completely different, right? When you're rationing, they talk about doing, a cup or 2 cups every so many hours, right? Everyday needs, really listen to your body. If your body is becoming, for example, if you're getting cotton mouth, right? That's a sign of dehydration. Headaches, another sign of dehydration. Your urine color, right? If it's clear, it means you're more hydrated. If it's really dark or smelly, you're getting dehydrated.
You need some more water.
Yeah.
And I guess if you get into the trap of drinking sodas all day long, and you're not going to really necessarily know when your body needs water because you're not taking enough water in.
Right, and that's the problem with that's the problem with the sodas and other, even fruit juices sometimes because they have so much sodium that you're thinking, well, I'm taking in the liquid. But the sodium itself is working, it's counteracting really the hydration process because it's drawing water out of the body cells, the sodium is. So that's why you can't really get...
Isn't it you just drink more soda,
Right.
Which is even
And
worse
you're just
for you.
not quenching your thirst. And you're like, man, I can't stop drinking. Well, there's a reason. Yeah.
Well, then you end up diabetic because you've had so many sodas to try to hydrate
exactly.
that you're
That's
filling your
right.
body full of sugar.
You know, and that's a good point, Scott, if I can jump in just there, too. It has to become a lifestyle. So that's another reason why people burn out on fitness and things like that is because it's something I have to do. You know, if you look at it as a chore or drudgery, you're not going to do it. You're going to stop doing it. You know, it has to become a lifestyle. And so whether it's what you're doing it while you're watching the evening news, great. Make it part of your routine. My wife and I, you know, at first she made fun of me, and now she's doing it with me. When we brush our teeth sometimes, we're doing some exercise. We're doing heel raises or something.
Yeah,
I'm
really.
sitting there brushing my teeth, but I'm getting it in. You know,
Up and down, up.
Exactly, yeah. So there's different ways that you can get it into your day or make it a routine. If you're at work, standing up every 20 minutes, taking a little walk, or doing a couple exercises there on your side of your desk.
So you'll catch me in the grocery line, stretching my legs, pulling my leg back, stretching my hamstrings.
Yeah. Or are you just
Really
faking
not
that so
touch
you
my
can see
toes.
the tabloids and no one really knows you're looking at the tabloids?
Hey,
Well, hey
you've
guys,
done this before, haven't you?
thank you so much for being here. Everybody, please take that extra effort to get involved. Do something for yourself, physically healthy, improve your lifestyle. We'll be back here next week, same time, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. with PrepperCon Radio.
Thanks for coming, Matt.
Thank you.
It's been great.
First time we've ended correctly.
That's a good time. No, I think you ended great last time, didn't we?
I was like looking at the clock. Yeah. Last time I
Sorry we didn't have colors, but
You know what?
we
That's
should
okay.
have planted at least family colors, right? I mean, we had enough material. We got through it.
Yeah.
So.
Are you living with old and ugly
Thank
carpet?
you.
Did good.
Want your carpet? It's just too expensive, right?